I'm probably gonna rant a little, guys. So just a heads up. This is a topic, a conversation that is sore for me. So when I was a kid, we played a lot of different video games, and some of them had really cool crossovers. So one distinct one that I remember when I was a kid was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and there being a crossover with Darth Maul. So that crossover was sick. And I thought it was dope. It was cool. It wasn't, it was still pretty edgy. Now though, I feel like it is wildly overdone. So Fortnite was one of the people to start doing this, doing the crossover. So they have like every character under the sun. They have, Marshmallow Man, Stormtroopers, Batman, Star Lord, Scarlet Witch. I mean, everybody. I mean, they have Homer Simpson, they have Peter Griffin, they have every possible, but they have Lady Gaga and Sabrina Carpenter and Eminem. Like every single person you could think of is in this game, and it's cheapening the meaning of crossovers. Okay, if everybody is doing crossovers no longer matter. It is not nostalgic. It is not as meaningful as it was like when we play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and we could play Wolverine and we could play Darth Maul. Like it's not the same. All right. And there are some games that have done this in the past that have done it well. And I think Nintendo is actually they come in clutch here because they did this with Super Smash Brothers. And this is like one of my favorite crossovers of all time. It was sick. Everybody was hyped. And just a caveat to this. So Nintendo, when they were releasing their Switch version of Smash Brothers, they started taking votes on some of the characters that they were going to release with DLC. And there were a bunch of people that were getting votes. Waluigi was somebody that got a lot of votes. I don't know why either, because Waluigi's stupid. So I don't get it. I don't get why he was getting votes. Now, I casted a couple votes, and I remember at least two of them. I voted for Sora from Kingdom Hearts and Knuckles. That's what I wanted to see. I thought that would be cool. And then they dropped this reveal. That was sick. That was sick, all right? So everybody was stoked when that happened. It was huge because this was something too we waited years to see happen and Nintendo delivered. So it was a crossover that people were invested in. It was something that had weight, had significance, and it was something that was actually meant something because Disney was, to get this IP was just it was wild. But now it just feels like everybody is on this crossover bandwagon. And the reason that I'm on this right now is because I saw this tweet from Call of Duty where Seth Rogen, I guess, is joining the fight in Call of Duty for season 3. Seth Seth Rogen. Why? Who cares? Why? Why are we doing? I don't understand. So it's like every company now has some stupid gimmick that they're doing. They're introducing, they introduce some character, whether it's Seth Rogen or Sabrina Carpenter or Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin or any random character, and these crossovers don't actually mean anything anymore. They're not significant. And then two, when you're playing a game, it feels now like all of these are ads. It's not something they're doing for the fans. It's ads. These are I feel like I'm playing a video game full of ads or creators like Sabrina Carpenter or Eminem trying to promote their music. It disconnects you from the game, from the immersive experience that it's supposed to be. Two, because one, I don't want real life versions of these people in our games. I don't want Nicki Minaj as a playable character in Call of Duty. Like, I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't know why anybody's asking for this. Like, can't we just keep real life away from fantasy? Like, this is the place where I go to escape that crap. Like, I don't wanna be bombarded with it. I don't wanna feel like I'm getting exposed to an ad. Yeah, I don't wanna deal with any of this. It's not just Fortnite, it's also, this is seeping into other types of games. So you have Magic: The Gathering, where they started doing crossovers, and I was fine with it for a little bit, they did some cool ones, like, but I think it should fit the world that they're in, okay? Transformers doesn't make any sense for Magic: The Gathering. It doesn't. You wanna know what else doesn't make sense for Magic: The Gathering? Freaking Marvel. They're doing a crossover now on Magic: The Gathering too, and there are just other things that just don't make sense for this universe. It doesn't make sense. They did Stranger Things. I said, okay, that can kind of fit, like that's a D&D based thing. That makes sense. They did Lord of the Rings. Okay, that makes sense. There are some of these that actually do make sense, but it just gets to a point where it's ridiculous, it's gimmicky, and it feels like a money grab. That's what it feels like, and I don't like it. It's off-putting. Recently, I watched the first episode of Black Mirror, and in the episode, spoiler alert too, if you haven't watched it, it's going to be spoiled for you. But there's this woman. She gets into a car accident. She's played by Rashida Jones, and her husband's devastated because she's in like a coma, and then this doctor has this experimental procedure that he can undergo that'll help her rebuild the tissue in her brain, but this rebuilt tissue in her brain is connected to cloud services, so basically they can get her to function properly and be awake and be stagnant, but they add a caveat. Oh, you're only going to need you're going to need a little bit of extra sleep. So they undergo the procedure to save Rashida Jones's life in the show, and everything seems well. They're able to live their normal lives, except she's sleeping a little bit more. No big deal. So then they attempt to leave town, and they were told beforehand that if they tried to leave town or go outside of the range, it's like cell service. They might not, they might run into problems. So they try to leave town, and she, like, her brain shuts down. She, like, blacks out, and then he turns around and gets back into range of these towers, and she comes back online. So all is well. She's good again. So they go visit this person to say, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? And they're like, oh, well, you went out of your range. But if you want to go further, you can upgrade to the premium plan. So they I think they declined the premium plan. They stick with their basic plan, and she's at because their basic plan was like $300 or $400 a month. It was expensive, and then the premium plan is like $800. It went up in price. So then while she's at school, this kid asks her something, a question, maybe about faith or something like that. And then suddenly she like pauses and goes into this ad read, basically about Christian counseling services for this kid. And then she comes out of it and she has no idea what happened. And then they try to upsell her to to stop the ads. And it just was an indictment on this subscription based culture that we live in. But that's how I feel though with the video game industry right now, is that they are putting these characters in here basically as ads, and they're just totally taking me out of the moment, disrupting the moment with these intrusive ads and characters that just don't belong in the world that they're in. And it's just so awkward and so weird. I'm tired of it. I'm so freaking tired of it. I just wish it would stop. And I'm tired of it. I'm so freaking tired of it. I just wish it would stop. I wish it would stop because I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So, yeah, all that to say that I'm sick of the stupid crossover events. Like, nothing's original. They have to use all these gimmicks to get players to play the games or to get kids hooked on digital skins. And that's another thing too. It's like all these people buying skins and content, non-physical things that they're never going to really like have any value. I say that now until they're like in the meta world and they have all these super cool skins and everybody's plugged into AI supercomputers and they're living in the matrix. And then I didn't get that Seth Rogen skin. Dang. Might have missed my chance.